What would you do if you woke up, found yourself locked in your apartment without an exit, and the Wi-Fi network isn't working? In this situation, can you escape? Johnny finds his family not at home, so he does what he's used to doing all the time, which is playing with his friends online. But his friends told him to see what's going on and watch the news, because everywhere on the street, people are attacking each other, and the emergency situation was announced. John woke up and saw from the window how people are scared like this, and what's going on. A lot of people leave their homes and they actually see the signs of zombie disease. People hang out with each other, jump and run, and all this happens quickly and they don't understand what's going on. In this case, stay away from the traffic and stay hidden. Run. Half of our people in this case. John is very surprised that he saw a child hugging her mother and carrying her and dropping her on the ground. And everyone is in a state of madness. Here, John decides to look out the door of his apartment, and his neighbor comes very quickly and suddenly enters the apartment and tells John to stay with him in the apartment, and tells him that his brother passed by and he escaped, and John does not know what is happening, and he is afraid of this man, and told him to go out. But his heart was in pain, which made his neighbor sit and use the bathroom as well. John heard here in the news that the symptoms of the zombie disease are eye bleeding, violence, and eating human flesh. John thought for a while and quickly took the knife to meet his neighbor while he was out of the bathroom. John saw a sign of a cross on his hand and forced him to get out of the apartment. But his neighbor was outside, and until he reached the door of the house, he stopped once and the signs of transformation began, and he began to turn into a zombie immediately and attacked him. John locked him in a strong lock and threw him out of the apartment, in order for another big zombie to come and take the zombie's friend and get rid of him. That night, John brought the fridge and put it behind the door and tried to make a call, but there was still no network, Miss Fuzzy. He couldn't reach anyone. The new report on TV says that they're coming to make your account in food and drink. That's enough for you for 60 days. John started to see how much food would be enough for him, and he found out that it would only be enough for 10 days. John got bored, so he thought about taking a selfie, but it wasn't a nice idea, to be honest. In the morning of a new day, he posted on Instagram that people were spreading the need for help and complaining about their place, but there is still no network or calls, and this is the right time to use technology for the sake of life. Not likes. The guy here thought that if he connected the phone to the game and flew it up, he could get a network. The idea worked, and he got a network. But once the load was over. At the same night, there was a police station in his neighborhood that resisted the zombie, but the zombie got caught on it. He tried to pull it to save it, but the zombie took it, unfortunately. Here, the gun that fell from it is still there, and the zombie thought he would use it very well. But his voice is pulling the zombie and made them come to the house. John tries to stand up, but the zombie is very strong. John runs towards the window to make the zombie fall, and he does fall. A nice idea, don't think about doing it. John tries to close the door to keep him safe, and starts making vlogs to record his experience. On the 7th day here, John learned that the zombies attack others through blood, and that they keep some of their memories, like opening doors, for example. John felt desperate. The water ran out. He said he didn't want it anymore. He started pouring whiskey and beer glasses and making a brain. And indeed, John made a great brain. Praise be to God for the safety of the brain, John. John got up from his brain and started covering the young men well, and started watching the zombies and seeing their movements and behavior and what their nature is exactly. And here John entered and reached a very high level of despair, and he didn't know what to do. Suddenly, he received a message from his family telling him that they are fine, and take care of yourself and try to make up for it. He tries to take out the phone and the devices to connect the network, but unfortunately, there is no network. He thought that if he went outside, he could connect the network. However, the zombies took care of him and looked at him with very strange looks, to the extent that they wanted to eat him from below. John here gets nervous and decides to get out of the apartment. He opens the door, knocks on a zombie and hits him. And while he was walking, he found his neighbor in the bathroom in his apartment. He didn't believe what happened, and he almost collapsed. He got hysterical, and he was crying a lot. Because he was looking the other way, he found all his neighbors coming to celebrate his exit from the apartment, and they were surrounding him from all sides. He used the elevator, and he found them all out of it, and they were all lying on top of each other. John tried to run away again, but he found his blind zombie. He tried to hide from him. Then he came into the apartment and closed the door. Here, John finally decides to surrender and try to comfort himself. But while he's dying, he finds a taste of a red laser aimed at him. He looks at the building he's attacking and finds this taste coming from a very beautiful girl who has returned to life.
This girl is now ready for herself, and she has made her precautions. And the situation is very good, and she has made a hole in front of the door if anyone wants to enter or anything. Yu discovers the different rooms in the building where John is. You find out who has a lot of zombies, and which areas have few zombies. Some say their names, and John smiles at them, almost amazed. But John, there's no time for that. You're going to die. Yu sees that John is hungry, so she tries to throw the rope to get him food, but the attempt failed, and the rope fell on the street. John uses his kite to make it fly, and to reach it, and make a connection between them to move the thing together. The main problem here is that the rope around the first rope fell on the street. Notice a zombie guard, and the zombie keeps some memories. And the problem is that the rope is tied to the rope, and because the zombie pulled the rope hard, the rope got stuck and fell down on it. The zombie pulls the rope, and this is not the right time for the Darwaka. And you, John, your friend in Qatar, act brother. We'll see if a hero will come out and act or sell it. John tries with all his might to lure the zombie killer man. He shoots a glass at him and uses his plane to shoot the zombie, and he may fall, but the zombie here is very stubborn and doesn't want to fall. The killer man is experienced, and at the right time, you shoot at him and hit the zombie and cut his hand. John decided to go out of his apartment to look for food and drink and anything that would help him. He rushed to his neighbor's house next to him, which was full of food, a wireless device, and a defibrillator, and of course, his neighbor's body. John went to find out whose body it was. He found the body of a woman he knew, and she was the sister of one of his friends. But where is his friend? His friend is coming. His friend attacked John from behind, and because John thought quickly, and his luck was good, he got up and ran away from his zombie friend until he reached the door of his apartment. John shares with her the Nutella, then the wireless device that blocked them. On the new day, they noticed that the zombie was heading towards their residential complex, and they didn't know why. They tried to grab a security weapon, but it was stupid, and it made a noise. Of course, our zombie brothers here went to the sound, but John here thought smart and rang their neighbor's phone, so that the zombie could go to it and rescue it again. Jumby talks to her and reassures her. You tell him, don't worry, my love, I'm good, you're good. And this is the best solution here, to be surprised. Here the two decided that this is the only chance for them to escape. Jumby is very angry with the zombie, and she didn't tell him the news. Once she hung the rope on the door
and hop from the balcony to play a light match with the zombie. A strong survival match. She hits from here and from here. The girl fell, but she stood up quickly and took the gun. Hop, a zombie was shot at her. But John the Madman came at the right time, as usual, and took her and ran between the zombies from here and there, surrounding them from all over the place. And they tried to hold them, but the scapegoat told them to hold on so that you could reach them. Finally, after a while, they reached the building where the surface of it will be, and took the elevator to the 8th floor. The zombies, of course, will not leave them alone. They reached the 8th floor, and all the doorways were closed, and an army of zombies came to them. They tried to open any door from the doors, but there was no door to open. Once, the door opened, and a man pulled them out of the apartment and closed the door behind them, and shared food and drink with them. He tells them that an army of soldiers is supposed to fly in all directions of the city to rescue people. And it is supposed that one of them will come soon, God willing. John was happy, and one of his friends felt hope in life. John and his friend are still not sure about this man, and they wait for him to do something to make him like him. They asked him for canned food, and they sat and ate it. But this man was smart, and in a way, he made food. And John and the girl fell in love with each other, and every time he drinks a cigarette, he ties John and the girl together. Why? Because he thinks he's going to feed them to his wife, the zombie who turned. The girl got into this nightmare, and John got into it with a gun in his hand. Of course, the survivor threatens the man with a gun and tells him to get my friend out of there. You better die. The man was not afraid of the threat and left the rope to allow his wife to attack Yo-Yo. The girl screams and stands up. Once the sound stopped, the man opens the door to make sure of what happened. Suddenly, his wife Zom jumps on him, and she holds him in the last chair and pushes him in the last chair. John looks at Yu-Yu, and Yu-Yu looks at him with despair from life, and she holds the gun and tells him, "Take my life," and he agrees. His heart is beating fast, and he's ready to die. He hears the sound of a helicopter, and he's hoping. And with excitement, John and Yu-Yu, with all their strength, step on the zombies that are facing them and run with them to reach the surface. Indeed, they reach the surface successfully. Where are the planes? Huh? Oh, the zombies got out of the surface, and they're about to make a party. John is still running and hitting with his weapon, but of course the bullets will run out. Before the bullets run out, the helicopter and the soldiers appear in it, and they fire the zombies until John and Yu-Yo board the plane. And indeed, with our happy ending, John and Yu-Yo boarded the plane and were rescued. John and Yu-Yo are two of the many people who were rescued from all sides of the city. Thank you for watching. If you liked the movie, subscribe to the channel to see the latest of the best movies.